Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Continuing with Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter number 15, text number 10. Utkramantam sthitam vapi bhunjanam vagunanvitam vimudhananupashyanti pashyanti jnana chakshushaha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmanitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So we are continuing with chapter number 15. And we'll do 2 verses today, 10 and 11, where we will learn from Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita a very simple process how to become happy permanently. Not that happiness which has a beginning and an end, which we experience in the material world, but permanent happiness, which means we will always be happy. And I'm sure there's nobody in this world who would say, oh no, I don't care about permanent happiness. No, everyone wants to be happy permanently. So this verse, today's verse number 10, Krishna says utkramantam, which means quitting the body. That is the final examination for us, the time when we quit the body, when we leave this body. Very, very important. So it behooves us, being human beings with philosophical intelligence, that we prepare ourselves. And in this verse, Krishna is telling that those who are foolish, vimudha, foolish people, they do not care about goal of life. They do not care about, preparing for the last moment, which is quitting this body. In the 7th chapter, we learned, Namam dushkritino mudha prapadyante naradhama. That verse also Krishna says mudha, which means grossly foolish. There are 4 kinds of people who are miscreants, who do not surrender unto the Lord. And Krishna categorizes them into 4 kinds. Those who are grossly foolish, those whose intelligence is stolen away by Maya, those who are demoniac in nature, you see. So, Jana Sukritino, no, Namam Dushkritino Mudha Prapadyante Naradhama, lowest among mankind. These are the 4 kinds of people. You see, why they are called foolish? Because they are wasting this very, very rare human form of life. Doing what? Eat, sleep, and be merry. And they are not preparing themselves for liberation, to come out of this cycle of birth and death. Why don't they do that? Because they are blinded. They are blinded by you can say unending attempts to enjoy the senses. Today I want this, tomorrow I want that. Their mind is full of desires, how to enjoy. And they identify with the happiness that is arising from the sense enjoyment. If the senses are enjoying, they think that is happiness. And the reason why they are so engrossed in that is because they have no knowledge about permanent happiness. Because material happiness is giving them satisfaction for a little time, and they're happy with that. And they don't want to endeavor to attain permanent happiness, right? You can see there is an intense desire. desire to enjoy bodily pleasure, mental pleasure, psychological pleasure. And such people, they have no knowledge, they have no goal, and they have no idea at all. So, how to come out of this state of ignorance? Many times people say ignorance is bliss, but that is not true at all, right? If supposing I don't know that if I put my finger in the fire, it's going to burn, does that mean it's not going to burn? Definitely. So ignorance is not bliss. So what is the cure for ignorance? Knowledge from the Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is saying chakshushaha. He's saying that the chakshu, the eyes, they need to be trained in knowledge. And how do we train? By hearing. When we hear the Bhagavad Gita, then we understand and then we can see through the eyes. You see, Jnana Chakshu, the eyes of knowledge. That is important. Right? Why waste this human form of life just to eat, sleep, and be merry, just for temporary happiness, you see? There is a very nice saying, if health is lost, we can regain the health. If money is lost, we can earn it back. But when time is lost, we cannot bring it back for the wealth of the entire world. Like, for instance, we started at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. It's 6 minutes past 8 o'clock. Can we go back to 8 o'clock Sunday morning? No, the time is gone. Of course, we are using it for the right purpose, is hearing the Bhagavad Gita. So why waste human form of life, which we have gotten after going through 8.4 million species of life? See? So Prabhupada, in his purport, he explains, excuse me, that if we train ourselves with knowledge, then we will be able to see correctly. And then we will be able to make good use of our valuable time. Don't people say time is money, right? We don't want to waste, especially those who want to earn money. They don't want to waste time because for them, every moment is expensive. Right? So how do we make use of this valuable time that we have in this human form? Become self-realized. See the truth. How do we see the truth? Jnana Chakshu, eyes of knowledge. And Bhagavad Gita is teaching us how we can become self-realized, how we should not remain foolish. Not only just foolish, grossly foolish. You see, academic pursuits, whatever we may achieve academically, material knowledge, that cannot give us permanent happiness. Say, supposing I am studying so hard that I get my bachelor's and master's and I do MBA and I get a PhD. Is that going to give me permanent happiness? No. That happiness will be temporary, beginning and an end. But Bhagavad Gita, which is a treasure house, is giving us a simple process by which we can become happy permanently. But the million-dollar question is, are we interested? Right? Do we want it? And if we do, how badly do we want it? It's our individual choice. The Lord has given us that minute freedom of independence, that freedom of choice. But what do we do with it? We use it or we misuse it. Actually, the Bhagavad Gita, which is the ancient scripture, which is the summary of all the Vedic literatures, is considered like a touchstone. You all must have heard about touchstone, right? Touchstone is one that which is so valuable. You touch anything with that stone, it turns into gold. Anything. And you see, so Bhagavad Gita is like that touchstone. Many years ago, almost 500 years ago or more, there was a Goswami. His name was Sanatan Goswami, a very pure devotee of the Lord. He used to live in Vrindavan. And one time, a poor Brahmana wanted to become rich. So he prayed to Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva sent him to Sanatan Goswami. He said, you go to this person, this Goswami, and he has a touchstone that can make you very rich. So he goes there and he asked the Goswami, can you give me the most valuable thing that you have? He didn't want to see the touchstone. He said, give me the most valuable thing you have. And the Sanatan Goswami had the touchstone and he said, yes, I do have. Oh, where is it? Where is it? He said, I have a touchstone, but it's in the garbage. You can go take it. So this man, he was so happy. He went, looked in the garbage, and he found the touchstone. And he took it with him and he started walking back home. As he was walking, he was thinking, if this touchstone is so valuable, what was it doing in garbage? Right? Isn't that an intelligent question? So he said, no, I think he has something more valuable than this touchstone. Otherwise, why would he put it in the garbage? He went back to Sanatan Goswami and said, what else do you have which is more valuable than this touchstone? The Goswami smiled and he said, I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you realized that there's something more valuable. Yes, yes, gimme. And what did he give him? He gave him the chanting beads. He said, this is the most valuable touchstone that you can find. And he was so happy. He took the beads to chant. While he was going back home, he threw that touchstone in the river, holy river Yamuna, and he started chanting on these beads. What did he chant? The Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. You see? So this is the most valuable thing we can find. And that is why in every class, I always talk about chanting, because we can get the jnana chakshu, we can get the eyes of knowledge, but if we don't put it into practice, how is it going to help us in self-realization? If we want to become self-realized, then we need to take on this knowledge and put it into practice. So we need eyes of knowledge. Without knowledge, we cannot understand. We cannot accept someone saying something to us without really understanding it. Like tomorrow I say, hey, all of you, please chant this mantra. Your question should be, why? Where is it given? Is it something Krishna has recommended? These should be our questions. Then it can help us to become self-realized. So without knowledge, one cannot understand, and then there will be no self-realization. And then a person will not understand how to come out of this bodily concept of life, that how to understand I am not this body, that I am a spirit soul. How will one understand that this is not my original home? This is just a temporary home, and I need to go back to my permanent home, which is the spiritual world. You see? Many times, not many times, always, we forget, right? We forget that I am spirit soul. We forget. And that is the problem. When we forget that I am spirit soul, then we start operating on the bodily concept of life. right? There was this gentleman in Los Angeles, and he used to study in the university there. I think it's called UCLA. And so he used to study there, but he was very fond of riding motorcycles. And he would go to college, on his motorcycle and come back, etc. So one day it so happened that he met with an accident, and it was right in front of the Hare Krishna temple in Los Angeles. So there was a devotee walking by who was chanting. He saw, and and this gentleman, he physically did not get hurt, like he was not bleeding, he didn't break his bones or anything, but the impact was such that he lost his memory. He lost his memory, and immediately he asked the devotee, "Who am I?" Devotee say, "Hey, what's your name?" He said, "I don't remember. I don't know." So basically, he forgot everything. What was his name? Where did he live? What did he do? Nothing at all. And then he asked the devotee, "Who am I?" And devotee said, "I have an answer for that. I will tell you who you are. Come with me." So he took him to the temple, and he, gradually, of course, he then started living in the temple because he didn't know where to go. He didn't know where he lived. So he started living in the temple, and he started chanting. And after chanting, he started following four regulated principles. And then gradually he accepted a bona fide spiritual master. And his name was Omkar Das. Omkar Das. We don't know who we are. He actually lost his memory. And afterwards, one of the devotees suggested, "Why don't we take your picture and put it around the town, asking people if anybody knows you." And it so happened one of his friends from college recognized and called up that number and said, "Hey, you are so and so, and you were studying over here, and you lived over here, etc. Come, let's go home." Omkar said, "No, I'm happy here." Now that I know who I am, but I now actually know who I am, that I am a spirit soul. So this is what Bhagavad Gita and chanting did to him. It purified him and made him self-realized. You see? And since we all want to be happy permanently, Krishna is giving us this knowledge in the Bhagavad Gita, how we can understand who we are, why we are struggling here in the material world, and how we can go back to the spiritual world, how we can excuse me, how we can become free from illusion, how we can become free from false association, how we can surrender to Krishna. The whole process is given in the Bhagavad Gita, and it all starts with mantra meditation. We can take on knowledge. We can hear Bhagavad Gita year after year after year. But if we don't practice it, it'll just remain knowledge. You see? So when it is put into practice, it becomes wisdom. That's how people become wise. So the whole process is given in the Bhagavad Gita. And with the help of knowledge, we can understand the basic foundation, which is the difference between body and soul. Bhagavad Gita will help us to understand what is the goal of human form of life. It will help us to understand how to break the cycle of misery, how to become happy permanently, how to enjoy permanently. You see, only knowledge can help us. See, so we can read Bhagavad Gita, we can hear Bhagavad Gita, but we will not understand the secret of Bhagavad Gita until and unless we get the mercy of a bona fide guru and also Krishna. These two are very essential, you see. So it's important that we hear from bona fide authority. Like, for instance, when we want to put our children in school or college or whatever, we want to send them to a bona fide place, right? For instance, school, we make sure that that school is connected to the Board of Education. We make sure that the teachers in the school are all bona fide. They have a good degree, they have good experience, right? They know what they are teaching. So also in spirituality, we have to have a bona fide teacher, hear from bona fide authority, someone who is coming in parampara, someone who is coming in strict disciplic succession, right? Coming right from Krishna to Brahma to Narada to Vyasa, the whole disciplic succession. That's how we get trained, and we also make sure that such bona fide teachers, they themselves are trained and they are certified also. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhaya. Out of thousands, only few try for perfection. And those are those fortunate ones. You see? Those are those fortunate ones who understand the difference between body and soul. They, understand that the Lord is situated in the heart as the super soul who is seeing everything, who is hearing everything, who's a witness to all the activities that we perform on a daily basis. See, this is all what Bhagavad Gita teaches us, right? And the super soul, which is in the heart, can see our deep desires. What do we want? Even though he's there in the heart, he could force us to remember him, to love him, to chant his holy name, but he doesn't do that. No force. But he's watching us to see how anxious are we to become self-realized. You see, a few years ago, when there was COVID, right, during the times of COVID, we saw so many people leave their bodies, so many people died. And in what circumstances are they quitting the body? You see, how? How are they? What is their state of consciousness at the time of death? You see? So, like my immediate neighbor passed away and did not have an opportunity to really remember the Lord. So, in what conditions were they living? The conditions in which they were living was only wanting to enjoy the senses. I want this and I want that, etc., etc. So, based on all the actions performed during our life, that is what is going to determine what will be our state of consciousness at the time of death. You see, karma is is a fact. Many people think, oh, karma is just a fancy word. No, it's given in the Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 3 and 5 talks about karma yoga. You see, so our past karma, our past actions from previous lives, from this life, right, they all combine together and give us reactions. So it's important that we are very careful. It's important that we take on knowledge. Otherwise, we will waste human form of life, which will be a disaster, right? It's only in the human form of life that we have that philosophical intelligence to distinguish between right and wrong, to understand what needs to be done and what ought not to be done. See? In Mahabharata, we've heard the blind king Dhritarashtra. How did he become blind? Past karma. It was his past karma that he was born blind. And because of that, he suffered. And he was not only materially blind, but he was also spiritually blind. And it was out of choice. Being spiritually blind was his choice, even though his brother Vidura tried to give him spiritual knowledge, but he was so engrossed materially that he was not ready to listen. Why? Because he was very greedy materially. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has given us 2 chapters on karma yoga so that we can understand karma is very, very important. We need to choose our activities correctly. If we are engaged in just enjoying the senses and we do not, really think about the goal of life, just eating, sleeping, mating, defending, not understanding what is spiritual knowledge, because it's only spiritual knowledge can help us in understanding the difference between body and soul. It helps us to understand how this body is changing, right? 6 changes happen in the body during our lifetime. We come into existence, we are born, we grow, and then we like from boyhood to youth to old age, like that, we grow. There are byproducts, that means we produce children. Then there's dwindling, old age comes in, like disease, and then finally we vanish, which means the body vanishes. The soul goes into another body. You see, all this knowledge is given to us in the Bhagavad Gita. It helps us to understand how the soul transmigrates from one body to another. So, if we try to change our consciousness towards Krishna, then there will be liberation. And if we really want to understand the Bhagavad Gita, then it's important to help others also understand. Like, invite your friends, tell them about the Bhagavad Gita classes, tell them how important it is to understand the Bhagavad Gita, make them also self-realize. You see, when we help others, then Krishna is very pleased and he helps us. You see, help the others understand that material life is troublesome. There is no permanent happiness in this material world. And see, Krishna himself says, Dukhalayam Ashashvatam, that this place, material world, is a place of misery and it is temporary. You see? Now, in verse number 11, Krishna is saying that one has to endeavor. You see, nothing happens by chance. We have to endeavor, we have to pray, we have to put in the efforts. Plus, we need to have patience. Just like, a girl gets married and she tells her husband, tomorrow I want a child. That's not possible. It takes 9 months for the child to be born. So there's patience, right? So also in the process of self-realization, we need to have patience. But we need to see very clearly through jnana chakshu, eyes of knowledge. That is very, very important, because unless we see our lives through the eyes of Bhagavad Gita, through the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, we will not be able to understand a simple process for permanent happiness. You see, if our mind is not developed, not in the material sense, spiritual sense, if we are not self-realized, we are unaware. We don't know what is going on spiritually. We do not understand the real meaning of life. We are so engrossed in our problems and miseries and different circumstances. We're trying to be happy, but mostly we are unsuccessful. And then we try to find transcendentalists, spiritually minded people, different paths. But only if one is self-realized, that one can see the difference between body and soul. Will understand why is the body changing. Will understand the process of transmigration. Will understand our relationship with Krishna, right? And also, what is our eternal position? You see, in chapter number 6, Krishna taught us about Dhyana Yoga. Dhyana yoga is not just, sitting down in a different posture, asanas, no, but it is connecting with Krishna. That is real yoga. And how to connect ourselves to our Supreme Father, which is Krishna. Yogi nam api sarvesham mat gatirantar atma. The topmost yogi is one who connects with the Supreme Lord in the heart. See, yoga is for the body. It's good, but it's not good enough. We need to go beyond body, beyond, you see. So the yogis, they are endeavoring, but not for self-realization. So we need knowledge from the Bhagavad Gita, try and understand from a bona fide teacher, someone who has understood Bhagavad Gita, who is following Bhagavad Gita, who's teaching Bhagavad Gita, not just some flowery words to impress others. No, but putting Bhagavad Gita into practice. That is Bhakti Yoga. And with the help of Bhagavad Gita knowledge, one can become pure and also become self-realized. You see, and the first step is mantra meditation. It is mantra meditation, chanting the holy names that will help us to become permanently happy. And chanting what? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So I'm going to end now. If anyone has any questions or comments, you are very welcome to ask.